Today, we're looking at Robert Oster's Opal Mauve. Hi, I'm Adam, and I'm an ink guy. I get inks, test them, and share the results with you. Now, Robert Oster's Opal Mauve is a magenta with purple tones to it kind of ink. To make sure I have a range of experience with this ink, I do the writing samples. I put the ink into a different pen for a day. I then put it into a Noodler's Ahab with a modified flex nib to take my notes for this video. Now, before we get to the writing samples, let's look at the sciencey bits. Up first is the chromatography, and I agree with Vita that I've learned a lot by doing multiple chromatographies. The one on the left is done the way it's supposed to be done. I put a line of ink down and immediately put it into water for 10 to 15 seconds. And we see the magenta color pushing its way up really immediately. What's interesting is before this kind of turquoise comes in at the top, there's a separation between the two of them. They're moving entirely different distances. It's one of the only times I really see this much separation between the colors because it moved on and left that magenta behind. Now the one on the right, I let dry for 10 minutes before I dunk it into water. And the differences we see is that line across the bottom of the magenta is more permanent, more there. It got into the paper kind of nicely. It pushes up and it does not get as dark at the top. The separation between the magenta and the turquoise is a little bit more pronounced, and we do not seem to have as much turquoise across the top. Really amplifies what's going on in the original chromatography. Resistance tests are done to see how this ink can be expected to perform on the page, and more importantly, how hard it might be to clean from your pens. Now I let the smear dry for 3 days before testing it. Looking at the highlighter, it handles it basically well. There is some spread that's expected when you re-wet an ink that's not waterproof, but I can completely read everything that's there, making me feel confident to use it in a note-taking situation. Now, water is obliterating it. It's almost entirely gone. This means that water is the only thing you should ever need to get this out of your pen, but we're going to go through the others because they're here. Pen flush did everything that water did and nothing more because there was nothing more to really do. Interestingly, bleach, while it got rid of it entirely, did stain the paper yellow some, which sometimes happens when you use the 1/3 bleach solution, taking the ink off the paper. Now for the inks I've tested, I have found an average viscosity of 2.5, with a realm of normal being from 2.1 to 2.9. Robert Oster's Opal Mauve has a viscosity of 2.79, making it normal. High side of normal, but normal. To find my average dry times, I use my writing samples done with the extra fine and medium nib on Clairefontaine, Tomoe River, and Rhodia paper. For the inks I've tested, I have found an average dry time of 17 seconds, with the realm of normal being from 13 to 21 seconds. Robert Oster's Opal Mauve has an average dry time of 18 seconds, making it again on the high side of normal, but normal. Now let's look at the writing samples. I picked this ink up in sample form, and wow. To keep my writing samples consistent, I use a Jinhao 159 with a Goulet 1.1 stub, a Jinhao X450 with a Goulet medium, and a Jinhao X750 with a Goulet extra fine. Let's take a look at Clairefontaine. We have no bleeding, no ghosting. Why am I bending my paper up so much? The 1.1 has no feather, spread, halo sheen. It has gorgeous shading, and the color, this purple, is absolutely amazing. This shading is just great. Look at how Oster starts really dark starts really light. Is at a dark spot at the top. It goes light again. It gets dark again. Opal starts dark at the top, is light at the bottom, light into the P where it gets dark. It's gorgeous. The extra fine. The extra fine is the same tones going on with the 1.1. It has no feather, spread, halo sheen, beautiful shading. The starts light and gets dark. Quick starts dark, gets to a mid-tone, gets dark again. Brown starts dark and gets lighter. Fox starts light, gets dark, starts dark, gets light, gets dark. Beautiful all the way through. And the color of this is gotta be one of my favorite purples. When I use up my bottle of Iroshizuku, that's a purple, and I don't remember which one it is off the top of my head here. Hold on. The Murasaki Shikibu. I'm butchering that, I know. But when I use that bottle up, I am going to be getting this as my purple because this is a beautiful color. Just look at that. The medium. No feather spread, halo sheen. It's got the same tones that are going on with the extra fine. Excuse me, I need a drink. I should probably edit that out, but I'm probably going to forget, and I'm going to apologize now. This shading going on with this medium is gorgeous. Starts dark, gets light, gets dark again, all in quick. Brown, very light, nice and dark, nice and light. And when I'm saying dark, it's not like it's a super dark, you want to make it black kind of thing. Over is a much lighter word than the. It's beautiful, and 17 seconds to dry. And that's because the top of the 7 is very light. And that's why it's looking on camera at the moment like an 11, 17. The scrubby for both shows plenty of color variation. The extra fine is not showing nearly as well on camera, but there is some when you look far left to far right. The medium shows much more. We get it in a writing sample. And a smear test, you could recover this if you smeared while you were writing. Tomoe River, no bleeding. We do get ghosting. Yes, it starts coming through on a scrubby, but I'm putting it on stupid thick, and I probably scratched the page. The color here is just wow. I knew when I did this, I said if this is anything like what I see when I write, it's going to be amazing. And it is amazing. The 1.1 is no feather spread, halo sheen, no shade. But it's a beautiful color. It's just so there. It's the only purple I've ever seen like this. And I know somebody's going to go, it's a mauve or whatever. This is a purple, and it is fantastic. The extra fine is the exact same tone as the 1.1. It has no feather spread, halo sheen, and no shade. It took 19 seconds to dry. I'll live with 19 seconds for this color. The medium is the exact same tone that we got with the extra fine and the 1.1 with no feather spread, halo sheen, or shade. 27 seconds to dry. I'll live with 27 seconds on this ink. The extra fine and the medium show us no color variation, and we didn't get any color variation. In the smear test, you couldn't recover it if you smeared while you were writing. And that's all right. I forgive you, Tomoe River. Rhodia, no bleeding, no ghosting. The 1.1 has no feather spread, halo sheen, and unfortunately no shading where it's much heavier as it goes on. Now the extra fine has no feather spread, halo sheen. It does offer spots of shading. The tone is a little bit lighter than the 1.1. These spots of shading occur at the beginning of the. It's lighter than it goes into the where it gets darker. Brown is a noticeably lighter word than quick. Fox starts light and gets dark. Same with jumps, starts light and gets dark. Lazy is a noticeably darker word than dog. 14 seconds to dry. So manageable as an ink, especially for this color. Wow. Medium, the same tone that we got with the 1.1 with no feather spread, halo sheen, and yes, it shades beautifully. Not huge stark camouflage like shading, but beautiful graduation in and out of its shade. The starts light at the top and works its way darker as a whole word. Quick is an entirely dark word. Brown starts dark and gets light. Fox starts light and gets dark. Wow. Dog is a noticeably lighter word than lazy, or the 18, and it's worth 18 seconds to dry. Now on the scrubby, the extra fine shows some color variation, not as much as we see up here. And the same with medium, it shows color variation, not as much as I'm seeing here. The smear test you could definitely recover if you smeared while you were writing. TWSBI notebooks. No bleeding, no ghosting. The 1.1 has no feather spread, halo sheen, and no shade. This paper doesn't always, do very well when it comes to showing off the shade that an ink can have. But the color looks magnificent. The extra fine is the exact same tone that we got with the 1.1, with no feather spread, halo sheen, or shade. 13 seconds to dry. I wish it had some shading spots. It just really doesn't. The medium is a slightly darker tone than we got with the 1.1. It has no feather spread, halo sheen, and no shading, 18 seconds to dry. Now the extra fine scrubby shows us color variation, but we did not get it up here. The medium shows us none, and we didn't get any. In the smear test, you'd probably be able to recover this with no difficulty if you smeared while you were writing. So this has all gone so well, why not go ahead and end on a horrible, horrible note? Bring forth moleskin. Now the medium bleeds a lot. It does not touch the page underneath. It doesn't actually make it all the way through. It just gets very, very deep. All ghost all the way. The extra fine has a lot of dark bleed spots. I don't think it would stop you from using the page underneath. So we do see spots all over it. But as a pocket notebook, I think you'd probably live with it if you just had to jot some notes as you were going. What happens with the writing? Is that going to stop you from using it? Probably. The medium at the top, that medium has no spread, but the feathering is absolutely out of control. It's out of control. No halo, sheen, or shade. The extra fine, the feathering is out of control. It has no spread. Don't use this ink on this paper. Avoid this paper if you can. No halo, sheen, or shade. The scrubby, I don't know how long this took. I don't know why I didn't write it down. The scrubby shows us no color variation, and we didn't get any. And the smear test you could likely recover if you smeared while you were writing. And that is all that I have for the writing sample. Instead of finding inks that look like Robert Oster's Opal Mauve, I would prefer to find an ink that complements its color on the page. Now it was really the turquoise that we saw across the top of the chromatography that made me choose a turquoise ink. And I chose Noodler's Ottoman Azure because it is a very nice turquoise ink. Before I give my opinion on this ink, I would ask, if you've enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. And if it's your first time here, I would invite you to subscribe. Now, what do I think of Robert Oster's Opal Mauve? This is an amazing magenta-purple tone. I've never seen anything like it before as a color. It makes me wonder why it's never been reviewed. I've not found any reviews on it, unless somewhere between the filming and the posting of this video, it's come up. The shading is very nice. This is an ink that is really worth trying because it has such a unique color and its shading is gorgeous. Thanks for watching.